$15,000 to get booked on 30 shows. And I asked him if there was a guarantee on the size and quality of the show. And he said, no, there wasn't. Wow. That reminds me of the PR agencies who get you booked on radio shows, but there could be a 50,000 watt station in Iowa that had 2 listeners and one of them was a cow. Okay, so anyway, these companies exist and they are expensive. Now, I'm going to tell you right now how to get these companies working for you for free and also give you the exact wording I use when talking to them. So here's the first scenario. You get an email from one of the booking agents that says something like, hey, we love your show, which they probably never listened to even one episode. And we have a guest that would be perfect for you, and then blah, blah, blah. They tell you all their great credentials of the guest. Now, I have somewhat of a canned response to them that I just paste in the email and send it back. I don't spend lots of time on this. The only exception to this is if they were pitching a really big fish guest that I'd really like to have on. Then I immediately accept the booking. That doesn't happen that often because big fish have more requests than they know what to do with. Okay? All right, so here's the text on how I respond. And of course, it'll be in the show notes. This is episode, 382. By the way, anytime you want to go to a specific episode, you go to screwthecommute.com/ and then 382. And then I ran off a bunch of them at the beginning of this episode of other podcasts. If you're really into podcasts, you should listen to all of those other ones. All right, anyway, here's the text. I do put their name in. So if it was Sally that was contacting me, I say, Dear Sally, and then here's my text. Nice to hear from you. I'm currently only booking guests for reciprocal interviews. In other words, if it makes sense, they have me on their podcast and I have them on my podcast. Then I give them now this is a sidebar, then I give them my credentials and links to pages on screwthecommute.com to show them what a great guest I am. All right, back to the text. You're welcome to present guests that fit that criteria. Thanks, Tom Antioch. Now, if you want to look at those pages that I have on my site, it's screwthecommute.com/podcast hosts, plural, and screwthecommute.com/recent appearances. Those are the pages I send them to brag about myself as what a great guest I would be. Now, the next scenario is that you look up the podcast booking agencies on Google, just Google it, and proactively go after them. You tell them you have a podcast and what it's about, and that you are interested in reciprocal interviews. And then, of course, you give your credentials and any pages on your site like I have on mine. And, you got to show them that you'd be a good guest. But here's the thing. When someone pays them a lot of money to get them on podcasts, they are looking for every possible opportunity to book the person, their client, to keep them happy. If they know one of their clients also has a podcast, they present the deal to them about getting booked on your podcast if they will book you on their podcast. I've gotten lots of reciprocal bookings this way, and I don't look at it as ripping off the booking agency. I look at it like I'm partnering with them to get their clients booked. Look, good deal, right? All right, that's how you get booking agencies working for you for free because you have a podcast. All right, so the next technique is you can get in with people you probably couldn't reach in any other way. Now, it's no secret in the marketing and publicity world that getting on podcast as a guest is a great thing to do. Podcasts have a long life compared to radio interviews, and the recording schedule is usually more flexible because most of the time they are pre-recorded. Lots of people, including myself, love this, and I take just about every interview I can fit in as long as it makes sense and I can give value to a particular audience. Couple this with increasing listenership because new